Welcome back to Outlaw Woodworking. Today we're going to make a sign, and we're going to make a little shop sign, and right here I'm checking all my dimensions, and it's 43.9375 wide, it's a 1.375 thick, and then it's 6 inches. The first thing I do is seal coat it. So what I'm going to do is, I got all my measurements now, I'm going to seal it with some Zinsser seal coat mixed with 50% denatured alcohol, and it's a 50-50 mixture. And I put a liberal amount on. Next up, after I let it dry, I put the base coat on. And I made a previous sign for a friend of mine, and I like the color so much I'm doing this one the same. So this will have a base coat of black, and then I'll do the letters red. After I let the base coat dry, I put another seal coat on top of that. Same mixture, 50% denatured alcohol with Zinsser seal coat. Once that's dry, I can apply the Aura mask. Now, if you do the Aura mask right, it really makes your life easy. Sometimes I get a little too impatient and I'll put it on when it's not dry all the way, and then you'll come up with trouble. But if you let everything dry thoroughly and then apply the Aura mask, it works pretty good. And probably the most important thing is to really attempt to get all the air bubbles out of the Aura mask. Right there, I put the Aura mask on, and then I go ahead and get my roller and I roll it out, getting any excess air out of the Aura mask. I take an X-Acto knife and trim off any outside pieces. Now we're over in the computer. Now what I need to do is put in the dimensions of the material. So the first thing is the width, 43.9375. Next up is our height, which is 6 inches. And then our thickness, which is 1.375. And it's really important to be as accurate as possible when doing your dimensions in the design software. Now right off the bat, I want to do a trim around it, so I'm going to create a rectangle, basically the same dimension as my material, 43.9375 by 6 inches, and hit create. Now I'm going to highlight that and then use my centering tool and center it on the project. Now I can close that, and now I want to do an offset line inside, and we're going to do 0.75 as far as the dimension on the inside, and there it is. Now I can erase the outside one, and that'll be kind of the little trim around my sign. Now the next thing we need to do is create the text. So I'm going to go up here to my text tool and click on that. I'm then going to hit bold, and then I'm going to type in Outlaw Woodworking. And I'm just using Times New Roman font. Now one thing about this size font is you got to be careful to make sure your wood's thick enough, because it will router out some pretty deep V-carve, which I kind of like, but there is other ways to do it. And I'm probably going to do a video in the future of the different fonts and the different ways they cut. Now right here, I need to separate these letters a little bit. You can see how they're touching in some spots. And the way you do that is you go up here to this tool. It's the little arrow with the ABC. You click on that. You go in between the letters, and if you hold the Shift key down and click your mouse, it separates them increments at a time. Now if you weren't holding the Shift key down, you would click on it and they would come back together. So hold the Shift key down and they spread apart. Without the Shift key, they come together. So again, I go through here and spread these out, make sure they got room for the cutter. I don't like them to be running into each other. And yeah, right there, that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. So now what we need to do is, the sign is basically a design. We're going to make sure it's in the center, and that's about it for the drawing. So that part's pretty easy. Now let's go over to the tool path. We've got our text highlighted. We click on V-carve, and we're just going to do a simple V-carve, no clearance tools needed. We're going to type in our bit, which is a 1550 bit by Whiteside. And we're going to go ahead and preview it, make sure it's not cutting all the way through. And then the next thing we're going to do is do this outline, which this will be a fluting toolpath, but what we're going to do is we're going to use the same bit. We're going to put in depth of 1/4 inch, and we'll just leave that same V-carve bit in there. Type in our bit number, 1550, which is a 60-degree V-carve bit from Whiteside. We'll go ahead and preview it, and there's our sign. So next up, we're going to go ahead and now this is over at the CNC machine, and you can see the code that's right there. Now what we needed to do first was home the machine. Then what we needed to do next was the XYZ. Now what I do is I use a straight cut bit first, and then also need to warm up the machine. And right there it's running the code, and it's cutting at this point. Now I lost the video of it actually cutting, but here's me mounting it in there. I'm using rocker clamps, and I'm making sure to put these clamps outside of that trim area. And right here you can see I'm homing the machine. Basically it goes home, that way it knows that it's square. And I then XYZ it using a straight cut bit. Now I did film the bit actually cutting it, but for some reason my GoPro it didn't record it, so I kind of lost that little section of the footage. Right there I changed to the V bit, and then I just do one down only, just the Z-axis only, and then it was ready to go. And then I run the program and cut it. Actually right there it's doing a motor warm-up, spindle warm-up, and that takes about 5 minutes actually. And there it was, all cut, which I lost the video for that, but I clean it all out, and right here I painted all the letters red, and then I pull off the ore mask, and yeah, I'm using an X-Acto knife to remove the ore mask. And then I take a little router, this is my Porter cable router, handheld, and a little quarter round, and I router the outside. I then clean up the area a little bit, and now I'm going to touch up all the black and touch up all the red. It really didn't need that much touch up. The ore mask really helps out a lot. Next up I take it outside, and I spray about 5 coats of water-based polyurethane. And there it is in all its glory. Simple sign made on an Avid Cnc machine. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, like the video, check out our store at outlawwoodworking.bigcartel.com. And yeah, I'll see you later.